Hi everybody! Today I'm going to share with you two of my all-time favorite recipes. They are my dad's Thanksgiving stuffing and his candied yams. And these are honestly the only recipes that I go to. I've eaten them my entire life. These are what I always remember as being the best Thanksgiving meals ever. And honestly, everybody that I've always shared them with have loved them. So I'm sharing them with you, and I hope you enjoy. I'm starting off by cutting the celery, and I'm chopping it up and getting rid of the dry bits because they're just too tough. And then I save the top part of the stalks for the inside of my turkey. I make sure to cut the celery into about 1/4 inch cubes. A couple of days ago, prior to shooting this, I cut my finger, and I have a Band-Aid on my finger. The reason for the glove is just because I will be washing my hands a lot, and I didn't want to redo the Band-Aid. I'm fortunate enough to have a rosemary bush in my backyard, and so whenever I need rosemary, I just send Mr. Nifty out there to cut me up some rosemary so that I can use fresh. And I will be using about 2 tablespoons of chopped rosemary in the stuffing. I'm using a 14-inch pan that I absolutely love. This thing is so great for so many of my dishes, and it just fits everything that I need to put in there. So I am melting some margarine and then adding the vegetables to it, along with the seasoning. Aside from the fresh rosemary, I add some paprika, and that's sweet paprika. I also add some ground sage, some thyme, a little bit of freshly ground black pepper, and just this tiniest little bit of salt. Also, the exact recipe will be in the link down below. I like to include some sliced mushrooms, and these are canned. And the reason I'm using canned is because originally I used fresh sliced mushrooms, But the problem with that is that it doesn't keep very long in the refrigerator, and I found that my stuffing was going bad very quickly, and I've never had that problem again since I started using the canned mushrooms. So what I'm looking for is that the onions should be a little bit translucent. The celery should change a little bit in color so that it's somewhat cooked. However, I do like to keep it crunchy. So a little bit crunchy is the aim here. At this point, I remove it from the pan, and all those juices in the bottom you want to keep with the vegetables because that is going to help moisten your bread. Okay, this appears to be a lot of margarine, and in fact it is a lot of margarine, but you need to have that because what your goal is here is to toast your bread and somewhat moisten it. So I'm going to go in batches, and I add the seasoning to my bread as well. I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for watching my videos. Please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps to grow my channel. I repeat the process with all the batches of bread, and now at this point I add the vegetables to the bread and I just squish it a little bit. It's going to be hot, so I'm using the spoon to mix as much as I can, and you can wait a little bit so that you're not burning your hands, but I like to squish it, the mixture together, just to combine. You don't need to go crazy about squishing everything together. You don't want to make a pulp. It's just a little bit of mixing is what you want. Okay, finally done. Sorry, I'm in grubby clothes because I'm cooking. So this is a recipe that I have been doing pretty much my entire life, since very young. This is my dad's recipe for Thanksgiving stuffing, and I have tried many Thanksgiving stuffings, and this is really my favorite. I guess it's because I've always had it, but honestly, everybody that tries it has told me the exact same thing. So I hope you try it. It never disappoints. It's so good. Please try it. Okay, so next I'm going to show you a recipe that is award-winning. I've been making it since I was 14. It's my dad's recipe, and nobody else that I've ever known, nowhere else that I've ever gone to has made them the same. Just, they're not the same. And I have converted people that swore up and down that they hated candied yams. And once you try this recipe, you will never want them any other way. I promise you. Okay, so the first thing that you are going to need is 3 to 4 yams. And I'm talking not sweet potatoes, yams. And they have kind of a reddish tone on the outside. And get them so that they are like a medium size thickness around. So 3 to 3.5. And what you're gonna need is some paring knives. I have these two. They are sharp and you need them to be small and a little bit sharp because you're gonna need that to skin the yams. And I'll show you exactly what I mean because that's the critical part. And then I also have another knife handy so that I can slice them once I'm done peeling. And I have my yams in the oven now, and you need to leave them in for about a half hour to an hour, depending on the thickness. And you'll want to turn them over once during the baking time so that they have a chance to bake on both sides evenly. So about halfway through, you just want to flip them over. And be very careful not to overbake them. If you overbake them and they're mushy, you need to start over because by then you'll have made the regular candied yams. So feel them so that they give a little bit. You can tell that they're starting to get soft, and make sure that they're cooked all the way through, but not mushy, not too soft. So they'll have a little bit of firmness when you touch them, but they'll be somewhat, they'll be cooked all the way through. Okay, that's what you want. So I'll tell you I'll show you as I go along. I'll have the full instructions down below in the description. So look for that, but it's critical that you watch the video so that you see what I'm talking about. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them and I will be happy to respond. So the other thing you're going to need is a bowl of warm water, some brown sugar, a casserole dish, and I'll explain why we need all of these things as we go. I've already taken these out. These baked for an hour. So, and they feel firm, but not too firm. You can still feel like that they're soft, but firm at the same time. I don't know how else to explain it. Once I cut into it, you'll be able to see a little bit more. Now, sometimes the skin will crack, which makes it a lot easier. But if it doesn't crack, so for instance, I'm starting off with this one, and you can see in here, I've been able to pull off the slightest little bit of the outer red part of the skin. Now this is a long, tedious, put on a movie so you can do this and not be bored to tears. But you'll see, now if the skin cracks, it's a lot easier to just peel and it just pulls right off. But when it doesn't, you have to do this. And trust me, the labor that goes into this is so worth the effort. Just the results are amazing. Once I cut into it, I'll explain why you want to do just the paper thin exterior, the red part, and you want to keep all that inner skin in there. You want to keep it on there. So try your hardest just to get the red paper thin part of the skin off. And like I said, it's going to take a while. Once you get into the groove, you see what I mean here? This is, where's the camera? Okay. This is the paper thin. This is the paper thin part that you want to take off. It's very, very, I don't see how thin that is. That's what you want to take off. And you don't want to take off any of the other part. Now the reason for that is because once the yam, how do I explain this? The yam is, the very center is very soft and creamy, but the exterior, this exterior skin, and there's like 2 or 3 layers of that exterior skin before you get to the red part. That exterior skin, once you cook it, you're gonna fry it, and that exterior skin turns chewy and crunchy, a little bit crunchy, but mostly chewy. And it makes the contrast of the soft inner part and the chewy exterior is phenomenal. That's the skin that you want to take off, and no more than that skin. Okay, so I sliced off a slice. You don't have to get every single little bit of the red part off if you can't. If you can do it, great. If you can't, that's okay. A little bit like that isn't going to make any difference. I sliced it to about a 1/2 inch thick, and I'm putting them in a casserole dish so that I can layer it. And I will be putting a layer down, and then once I'm done with that layer, I will be putting some brown sugar on top, and then putting another layer on top of that. So I've got this, and I've been doing this since I was maybe 13, 14 years old. This little bit, if you try and keep it on there and fry it, it's not going to be the same. It's going to taste like you have paper over your yam. You need to take this part off. I know it's tedious, but it's a labor of love, and trust me, at the end, you will be very grateful. So just put on a movie, relax, and get your children or your grandchildren or your daughter, teenager, to help you peel. Show them how to do it, and it'll go faster, and you will be creating memories with your family. Just enjoy, peel it, and you will be very grateful you did. I'm using a 10-inch pan, and Mr. Nifty thought he would help me by putting in the butter. All you need is about a 1/2 tablespoon of butter. So trying to get this out, because if you get too much butter, then you won't get the crisping. So you want just a little bit of butter. While I was out thrifting a couple of weeks ago, I found this beautiful little crystal bowl, and I just love it. And I did come across another one at the same time that was a little bit bigger. So now what I'm doing is I am putting 1 layer of yams on top of, in the pan, and on top of the slices, I am putting about a teaspoonful of brown sugar on each side, and I am letting it just fry up till a golden brown on the bottom, and then flipping it over and doing the same. Make sure not to have the flame up too high, because you don't want the brown sugar to burn, because then it gets bitter. These are not burnt. They're exactly the way they should be. Okay, so here goes, you guys. Honestly, it is, oh my gosh, so good. So this is the outer skin that's hanging there. It's hot. It's honestly one of the best things you'll ever try. It's creamy in the center because it's soft from being, you know, it's a yam. Do I have food on my face? So it's creamy in the center, obviously. A moment. And you get the exterior skin turns crunchy but chewy. And that combination, yeah, it has a lot of sugar and it has butter. It's yams. It's, you know, candied yams. It was my dad's recipe. I've never seen it anywhere. And I've watched a lot of cooking shows and been to a lot of restaurants all over the place. Never once have I seen this recipe. It is so amazing. Try it. You're gonna love me. And don't forget your glass of milk.